File systems. File systems are one of those things that we don't really know what they are, but we just kind of know what they are. Well, this video is meant to address that issue just so you don't kind of know what a file system is, but at the end of this video, I'm going to make sure that you do know what a file system is and the various types and why we do need them. File systems, let's get started. Now, before I actually get into what exactly a file system is, there are two other things I have to explain first. The first thing is a file, and the other thing is a directory, otherwise called a folder. A file is a piece of data on your computer that contains either text, images, or any sort of data, or even a video. For example, if you take Notepad, you type out something and then you save it, right? Whatever thing you get after saving your document is what we call a file. It usually ends in with an extension like .txt. Those extensions are what we call file formats, and those ones hint on the types of files. We can have video files, we can have images, we can have JPEGs, we can have log files, and many more, right? So for videos, we usually have .mp4 as an extension, or .mkv and others. So as images, we have JPEG, PNG, GIF, and others. So with each file, after you've created a file on your computer, something called a metadata is attached to the file. Now, this metadata is what contains certain details about the specific document or file that you've created. These details are like the permissions on the file, the users of the file, the size of the file, the date of access, date of creation, date of modification, and all that. All these combined are what we call metadata. Then we move on to directories. So directories are just a means or a way you can use to organize your files. So directories, you can use directories to organize directories by putting directories within directories, as well as putting files within directories. So just see it as a container where you keep your files and other directories within there, right? Then we move on finally to what a file system is. So a file system is like a script that your operating system uses to organize and manage and access these files or directories. So it's just a way for your operating system to arrange all the files or save the files in specific parts of your storage media. So if you're using a computer, you probably have something like this, which is a hard drive, right? To save all your data and other files or videos or whatever. File systems are OS, most of them are OS specific, some too are just general. So some OS specific file systems are like NTFS, which is for Windows, ext4, which is for Linux, APFS, which is for Mac OS. Because they are OS specific, there is limited access to these files on various file systems on various operating systems. So before you choose a file system that you want to use, you have to make sure you know what operating system you'll be using it with and for what purpose. Purpose here means that all file system types have certain features about them that you might want to use. So you have to know for which purpose you want to use the file system for. If we take the FAT file system, which is the file allocation file system, this file system was invented by Microsoft, and it's mostly used with IoT devices, like your TV or your camera or your sound system. SD cards, micro SD cards, you can format them with the FAT file system, which is it's usually accessible on other OSs, but it's limited in features, as in you can't save files that are larger than 4 gigabytes. So they invented ext4, and that will spiral us into a much more rabbit hole. But just to be clear, all files have specific features about them and specific types. So before you choose a file system, you have to read on it and know what you want to use it for. In order to get a file system on maybe your hard drive or your pen drive, you would have to format your drive first with that file system. There are things like partitioning where you can partition your drive into sections, but that is a bit detailed for this basic video. But at the end of the day, you will have to format your drive or your partition before you are able to use a specific file system with it. And so with that, I hope you have gotten some use or knowledge and learned something new out of this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.